96K BTC. A lot of you guys are thinking, is that the bottom for the else? Is that the bottom for BTC? Is this thing going lower? What is going on? So I've got some information for you guys that can tell us that perhaps the lows may be in here, and it's maybe one final stretch before we get a little bit more action. So we got tons to talk about here. I've got loads of altcoin setups for you. Big week ahead, guys. Let's get right into this. And remember, as always, hit that like, hit the bell, hit the subscribe. And if you're wondering who I am, well, I'm normally on Banter Plus. So you can look at Banter Plus. That's the other channel. If you like this type of trading content, I am there daily, Monday to Friday, doing this type of stuff for you on Banter Plus. So make sure you guys check it out. And obviously, yeah, those of you who have been around for a while, you know, James, he's in the house. He's bringing us some stuff. And then I've got another guest here, DJ Dave, ripped him out of hackers. He's got a couple of setups here for you guys. So big week ahead. And let's take a look at what happened this weekend firstly. So this is Banter Bubbles we're looking at the moment. Can somebody, P-Hex 18% up. That's filth from what I remember. And I see it's been relatively flat. So we thought we were going to get a pump on Friday. Last Friday was looking pretty decent. And Uncle Donald came and ruined it with a couple of things. So we got a little bit of excited. We had a little bit of excitement, and then that got flattened pretty quickly. So in terms of Banter Bubbles this weekend, I'd say it's been okay. So PHX 18% up, boring. Celestia's up 4%. That's interesting. We saw BNB pumping this weekend as well. We're going to be talking about that. Tao showing a couple of moves there for us. But let's take a look at BTC. Let's see what these guys have done to us just this weekend. So we have kept it relatively tight. This is Bitcoin on the 2-hour that I'm tracking currently, and pretty tight weekend range. And I think we've gotten pretty used to that of late. So if you can take a look here, you can see our lows for this weekend, 95, call it 95,500 was our lows, and our highs at about 97,280. So very tight range here for BTC. Now, in terms of what I am looking for this, for the final day here on Sunday before leading into the week, it's going to be an interesting one because we've got a couple of options. And typically, if we get a dump before and a pump, I don't know, I mean, I'd say that's probably our most bullish setup if we can get some kind of downside first. If we do get some kind of pumpage leading into that, I would be very cautious going into Monday, probably looking for some pain then from that side. So in terms of levels that I'm watching now for BTC, big levels here, 95,500. You can see I've got my 100-day MA coming in as support here. I've got my 618. I've got tons of horizontals here. So step one would be a little dip today into that region there. Just look for the stop hunt just below. Call it 94,700, just below that. Could be a nice little move. Then a little bit lower down, anything for me from 94K. You can see the lows of that wick into my 786 fib. That looks pretty reasonable as well. So 93,600. Those look like nice reaction zones there for us. And then in terms of the oscillator, you can see the oscillator is currently printing a little bit bearish. You can see they had that previously. There was downside, and they've done that now. And we just got a little bit of downside here now on BTC. So all eyes on these two levels now to the downside. Don't really want to go much lower, but we know there's action here at 91. So if there is an emergency, I suspect that will be some action there for us. And that will be the full wick fill that I've been talking about now for the last couple of weeks after that dump that we had. So not really fun for else if we do hit that 91, but definitely going to be interesting. Now, what do we do to the upside? If the market starts pushing today, we get a little bit of action. Guys, be careful here. 98,500. It's a bit of a war zone here. I've got multiple VWAPs in the way. I've got the 50-day MA. I've got horizontals. I've got my trend. So any pushes into that type of zone, be careful. Okay, that could be a no FOMO region there. That is where you can get some kind of rejection. So 98.5 up to that wick fill, even at just under 100K. Look at this wick here. We know the market makers love to come and take out those wicks. So look out for that push into that type of region there and the sell-off. So caution up there. Then another region of interest for you guys. If we do get a little bit more pumpage, look at that VWAP sitting in the way. That is 101,300. That is a danger zone. And then 102,950. So these are going to be your possible rejection or short areas that you could look for if we do pump into those. And then lower down, you've got your longs. Okay, so that is the plan. Remember, all these charts go straight into Chart Hackers after the show, so you can check them out there. If you're a Hackers member, that is where you can find them. And Richard says he's going straight into Fartcoin. Now, I don't have that one ready today, but we had an absolute ripper on that fart last week. And guys, let me know in the chats how everyone is feeling. I mean, we got a little bit excited there on Friday. We thought we were going to get some moves, and then Uncle Donald came and actually wrecked a lot of our fun. Let me know how you guys are going. Yeah, Mike says we're going to 90K. He wants to explode downwards. Mike, that's not going to be fun, bro. That is way less fun than what we want to see. Earthy's talking to all the hackers out there. And guys, I am going to be doing a giveaway today, so make sure you're watching. You're going to get a bit-funded giveaway from me. You're going to get deals to get into hackers. So there's a lot going on here today. And obviously, DJ and Dave, he's bringing us a special setup. He's ready to go. Look at that. We'll bring him back. Okay, let's go. Let's get into some news. Let's get into a couple of things here. I'm just reading the chats. How's my people? Keep it coming, guys. Let me know what you guys are trading as well. I'm keen to see what you guys are doing. Now, is he what women think men want and what men really want? Now, who's part of that? I mean, I'm quite a fan of the big green candles. I'm not going to lie. It does excite me quite a bit. So that is my vibe. Dave, do you like a mix? Do you like a combo or just the green candle?
Man, I think a combo. I'll take a combo.
James, combo or just green candle?
Candle only. Forget the other. I don't need that. I need the candle.
I'm a candles man. Okay, I'm a green candles man. Oh, what can I say? It gets me excited. Okay, let's go. So big events coming this week for us, and Kobisi letter says key events. Trump's reciprocal tariff announcement on Monday. Okay, we're going to talk about that just now. Fed Chair Powell speaks Tuesday, Wednesday. January CPI, that's massive. January PPI, that's massive. Market movers here coming this week. So we say this all the time, but is it possible for us not to have another big week in crypto or another big week in the markets? It feels like they tee us up every week for some kind of action there. And Matty says he's right there with Nimrod. So guys, big week ahead from that perspective. But this is what absolutely wrecked us on Friday. And Uncle Donald came with his tariffs. And Lee Longshanks, he put it quite well. He says, Japan, you get a tariff. Australia, you get a tariff. New Zealand, you get a tariff. And we were saying last week, this is how it feels at the moment. And in 21, we were hanging on to every word that Elon had to say. Now it's a combination of Trump and Elon together. I mean, look at Doge there, right on Trump's right shoulder there while he's leaning over. But we all over this. And I see King Pound says, China tariffs against the US are kicking off. James, what was that comment there? And Ninebreaker says, time for some shorts. Okay, but look, I've got a counter argument for some of these shorts now at the moment, because there's been a little bit more news coming out of the States. So let's take a look at this. I mean, at first thought all this tariff stuff does make sense for downside, but Marty Party dropped this earlier this weekend. He said US Fed puts out their 25 monetary policy report. He says they announced they are ending quantitative tightening in June after a $2 trillion reduction, lowering the balance sheet to below $6 trillion and selling securities. Basically, he's calling this relatively bullish. And he's calling the market to start pumping or front running this news. James, what do you think about this? I know you sit on the fence with this a little bit here.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite possible. And you could get people front running, right? They go, okay, well, tightening is stopping, which means easing is coming. So let's go ahead and buy the rumor, right? And once we get to that point, they may sell the news. And that's my bullish case. That's what I'm hoping for.
Look, okay. So, I mean, guys, you get the picture. I mean, we've got bullish news here, and we've got a little bit of bearish news. That Trump tariff situation wasn't good for us, okay? But this might be something that the markets might like. Let's take a look at the S&P. We can see the S&P had a nice sell-off on a Friday. You can see there was a little bit of a dark side to it, and now we are actually drifting into a reaction zone. So we might get surprised here and get some kind of bounce out of the S&P. So look out, 6,000. That's a nice support base that we can start working with on the S&P. If the market likes the news regarding the quantitative tightening coming to an end, maybe we're going to get a bounce off that support, even if it is short-lived. So 6,000, guys, watch that on the S&P. Then a little bit lower down, 5,950. Those are the big ones, okay? Those are the ones that I would be paying attention to. And Dan says Trump isn't good for us, period. He must pump our bags, then we're happy. as long as the bags are going up. But other than November 4th to when December, it's felt a little bit painful ever since then. So those are your S&P levels, levels. That is what we want to be watching. Let's see what else is cracking here. Now, 𝗫𝗏𝗏 is putting out a little bit of a fire. He's saying he can't actually see anywhere that they're talking about ending the QT. And he was basically saying that they started putting this into Grok, and Grok started answering for people, and they just came up with this date that it ends in June 25.
You know what, though? I saw that tweet of his, but if you actually read the document, it says in there, because this is from AP, I think, is who wrote the document, right? And in there, they quote that the majority of the Fed, individuals that work at the Fed, agree that this is happening in June. So there's no official statement, but they have talked to them, and the majority agree that tightening will quit. So he's a little too fuddish.
Okay. But Ivan's got a very good point here. He says this is good news, but there's plenty of time until June. Guys,
there is.
If we're trading short term on leverage, fuck me. It could be a wild ride. Okay, let's see what else we got going on here. And 𝗙𝗬𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪 says, wow, this could be historic. Elon Musk and Coinbase CEO have now proposed putting all US spending on the blockchain. I mean, that is obviously pretty bullish. That obviously makes things super transparent. The public can see exactly what is going on, and they can sort of limit the funny business. So if you want to read about this, you could follow the 𝗙𝗬𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪. There's a little nice little thread they're giving for you guys, and you could read about that. But I mean, that's pretty bullish. And remember, in terms of stocks, guys, you can now catch all the stocks on Banter Bubbles. Look at that. You just click at the top here. Instead of crypto, you click on the stocks button, and you're going to get your live stock updates. At the moment, they are gray because the stock market is closed. But anybody interested there, if you are looking at stocks, which I will be bringing to you in the next couple of weeks, we're taking on a new trading partner that's going to allow us to trade some stocks. So I'm going to bring in loads of stocks for you guys, and we're going to be paying attention to some of this going forward. So that is exciting. And then I just want to touch on BTC on the daily for you guys. Now, these daily levels are obviously super important for us. They give us the bigger picture as to where things could go. And, you know, obviously we spend a lot of time watching 2-hour candles, trying to trade small moves, but sometimes we really need to zoom out and look at the big picture. And you can see in terms of the daily on BTC at the moment, our big level is got to be this 95K region. Look at that beautiful 95K level, 100-day moving average playing support here for us as well. That is an absolute banger, solid daily support level for us. So that is good news in terms of the fact that we are holding that region. And then a little bit lower down, 91,800. Yes, sir.
It's a very valid comment here. I totally forgot I'm not a football guy. But Super Bowl's today, and lots of rumors that there's big crypto commercials coming out during the Super Bowl.
Always. Always some kind of, always something going on there.
But okay, I seem to remember, I think it was 2022, that it actually caused things to go down, not up. There were commercials, and it was worse.
It was the top.
It's not necessarily a bullish thing.
We'll see. Guys, in terms of BTC on the daily, okay, some big levels here of interest for us. 95K, that is the big one that we're watching now. Any dips into that 95K makes sense. A little bit lower down here is your 91K. Look how that ties in so beautifully to this range low. Look at that absolute banger in that region. So 91K, that type of region makes sense. If they do put us under extreme pressure, we've got another wick full that we can watch at 88. Don't want to deal with that just yet. Now, if we do go that dark and that dirty, well, you're going to catch me on Banter Plus during the week, and we'll be managing all of that stuff. But in terms of what I'm looking for today, not a major sell-off here. So, ideally we hold this 95 and then we start churning a little bit higher. So that is my first prize, obviously, with regards to BTC. So very tight range, very frustrating range for anybody who's trying to play, a couple of big moves. I mean, I certainly am looking for bigger moves, and it gets very frustrating getting chopped up. And Shakespeare's pipe is back asking for theta. Guys, I mean, okay, we'll bring you some theta. I think it's very cool that he always asks me about theta here. We got to cover a little bit more of that for you. And what is Dan saying? If we go down there, I'll start working for my wife. What, to 80K, bro? Let's see. You never know. Okay. And Loonsea community, I was 80K up, now 80K down. Oh, it's choppy, guys. It's choppy. Now, this is what my tile was about. Okay. So I'm bringing you something. Again, this is not meant to be clickbait. So anybody who thinks this is clickbait, it's absolute shit. It's not clickbait at all. I'm bringing you some factual information here that tells us that the end could be near, as in not the negative end, the end of the pain. We could be looking higher. So this is what I wanted to show you guys And you know that this is quite a big part of some of my TA. So Merlin's actually summed this up beautifully. And he says the cycle is actually setting up perfectly. He says dominance at supply, basically that is resistance, okay? And for those of you that don't know TA, well, resistance is a place where we hopefully reject from and we actually drop. And he's saying ETH BTC is at demand, which is a buy zone or a bounce area for us. And the last time this happened, alts went parabolic. Are we about to see history repeat? Now, I'm sure you guys are as sick as me of hearing the phrase alt season. I fucking hate that phrase, okay? I love an alt week or an alt 2 weeks. That's nice. We get a nice move out of them. We don't get too euphoric. We play that accordingly. So, you know, if we can get those types of bounces, that would be beautiful. If we get a sustained move, well, that's great. But how do we get there? So let's take a look at a couple of these charts. First one is ETH versus BTC. Now, this is a very important one. This tells us if ETH is getting favored over BTC or if BTC is getting favored over ETH. And you can see it's been a tragic story. From the highs, September 22, it's been an absolute dog show all the way down. Anybody holding ETH, you know the pain. And in terms of what we're looking at now, this is ETH BTC on the weekly chart. And you can see we are in a major weekly area where we will be looking for some kind of bounce. And you can see in terms of the dump that we had recently, we had quite a strong bounce off that region. And for me, it makes sense that we can treat this as support. So if we do get a little bit more weakness again in the markets, we are looking for that one to bounce. And this should give us an alt week or 3. Okay, that type of bounce. So that is effectively what I'm looking at on ETH BTC. Again, we don't have to get too euphoric or too ahead of ourselves. There's so much in the way. And in terms of this move, there'll be lots of rejections, all these things happening. So we're not going to get euphoric. Okay, just keep watching the show. I'll look after you guys up and down there along the way. So in terms of that, I do want to see a bounce ETH BTC. Let's look at his dominance chart. He's talking about dominance being in a supply zone or a rejection zone. And yes, he's making sense. He's got a very good point here. But what does this mean for us, you know, short term? Now, short-term traders, you can see we've got this big region higher up at 70 to 72%, and we've got this region at 64%. So in terms of the bigger picture, we are nearly there. In terms of the bigger picture, what he's saying is if you're sitting in spot and you are accumulating and those types of things, the pain of the move to the downside might be subsiding over the next week or 3, or maybe a bit longer even, and then we're going to get some upside. But what do you do if you're a DJ leverage trader? Well, I mean, that doesn't obviously help you very much. But in terms of when we get the reversal, I think it's nice to get a little bit of comfort out of these charts. But for the short-term traders, this is what you need to be looking at. So, and you can obviously dial in even more. You can get way more zoomed in than this, but this is dominance now that I'm looking at on the daily chart. And if we are trading from day to day in the markets, this is kind of what I like to pay attention to. So dominance right now, you can see what is happening here. We had that big dump the other day in the markets. That obviously sent dominance straight up and caused a lot of damage to those altcoins. Then we had that beautiful rejection. You would have noticed your altcoins bounced quite nicely, probably frustrating because you hit stops and then it bounced without you. Let me know who that happened to. Let me know in the chats if that happened to anyone. And now we've got a little move back down onto support. So what happens typically here with dominance is on support zones, it tends to bounce a little bit. That puts your alts under pressure. And then when we lose these areas, the alts will run a little bit. When we get back to support, dominance bounces again. It puts the alts under pressure. Okay, so what we do is we play this thing level by level and step by step. So right now, I've got dominance on support. So that is telling me we might have a bounce here in dominance, which means the alts could not, BTC will be favored over the alts. When this eventually reverses, we're going to look for filling some of these wicks or at these types of levels. That will give us our next alts move that we are going to be looking at then to the downside. So you just got to play this thing by ear. You got to look at these rejection areas on BTC. So right now, for the short term today, if we can get a decent result out of this, I'd like to see 62.2%, that high, hold as a resistance band. And if we do get a quick sell-off, like I was saying at the beginning of the stream, we get a quick sell-off, that might push dominance there, and then we get some kind of rejection. So that would be ideal for me on dominance. That's the bullish scenario here, 62.2%. Looks pretty decent. Thomas says he's seeing juicy setups. Yeah, I mean, guys, there's a couple of setups brewing. Now, we had a taste of it last week. Thursday, Friday, we did tee up some really, really very good looking setups, but unfortunately, Trump came and killed that party a little bit early. So if we are taking our bullish information that we've had, that I've just shown you at the start of the stream, with the bearish, maybe we do get a bounce in the S&P, maybe we can get a couple of bounces. So me and Dave are bringing you guys a couple of long setups here for potential bounces leading into this. And Carlos is actually asking about BNX. Now, we were talking about this BNX. Just, it ripped. What happened?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I was looking at it, 24 hours ago. I'm like, is this thing dead? 15 cents, like negative 6%. And then I turned my head, it's up 300%. So what's going on? Yeah,
lots of manipulation there, I would guess. Always out of nowhere. Yeah. Always out of nowhere. But funny enough, these things often bounce out of very interesting levels. Okay, and let's go. Let's get into some action, guys. So in terms of dominance, when you see it on support, look for the bounce. Be careful with your altcoins. When you see it at resistance, maybe that's a time where you can take on some risk, and then look at some alt longs and things like that, and look for that rejection. So that is typically how we play it. Then in terms of the altcoin market, this is total 3. This is the whole altcoin market, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. Yes, sir.
Have you this comment here about Dave Portnoy? Do you know who he is?
I got it. We tee this up, right?
Okay, never mind. You're on it. I should have known.
Coming in hot.
Okay.
Okay, so total 3. This is our total altcoin market, excluding Bitcoin and ETH at the moment. And you can see there's no actual changes here with regards to my view on the altcoin market. We are still sitting a little bit bearish while we are sitting under this major weekly band here. So for me, when we can turn bullish, we got to start reclaiming these levels. When we start doing that, we can start relaxing a little bit and saying, okay, these alts are starting to look way sexier now. But right now, let's get through this type of big resistance zone, that 900 billion region, the 920 to 940. We really want to smash through that level there. And in terms of what can happen in the short term, we speak about wick fills all the time. Makes perfect sense here. If we do drop lower and we fill that wick, that can still be a bullish result for us, but that is going to hurt. So in terms of altcoins, they're probably going to print, a lot of them will print new lows if we do that wick fill, and there is going to be pain. So in terms of that big chart that I showed you, that tweet, it makes sense. But in terms of shorter timeframes over the next few weeks, we could have another sell-off there. We could be filling some wicks, and there could be a little bit of pain. And there was a question about, is Virtuals dead? I don't think Virtuals is dead, but I think the AI agents, so many were getting made on the Virtuals platform, and now it's just trickling through. I think it got a bit overcooked like memes did not too long ago. I think it will come back. I do think it will bounce. And what else? I think Solana meme coins, I see there's a comment here from Taurus says, I dislike Solana meme coins. Well, you're going to fall over when I show you that BNB is starting to fly in terms of meme coins now as well. So we're going to talk about that, but we got to also talk about the worst trade in history. And when I was young, I was broke. But after years of holding Ethereum, I'm no longer young. Okay, and it just feels like it's just never going to happen, this ETH situation. Ali Chart's telling us US spot ETFs accumulated 400 million in ETH last week. That is nice. What we also know is the Trump and his world liberty, they're buying tons of ETH. Maybe they know something we don't. It remains to be seen. But there is information there. And Crypto T says, whiff dead. Guys, it feels that way. And then all of a sudden, they just pump. Okay, so don't lose sight of these things that have fallen over. Look what happened last week. I think Coinbase talked about listing Popcat. What did that thing bounce? 30, 40, 50%. There was a bounce on things like Popcat. So don't lose hope on those things. Now, let's talk ETH. Let's just discuss the options here. So in terms of ETH, the big one for me has always been a potential wick fill. So just a reminder for those of you that don't watch the show regularly, when you have a massive dump in the market, what typically tends to happen is you get your pump back, everybody gets euphoric, and then after a little bit of time, you start getting a slow bleed. Okay, now this is no different to what we are seeing at the moment. You get that slow, frustrating bleed out. You get that chop. We've seen this so many times before. And what typically happens here is we get a wick fill, either in full or they come and fill that wick partially. And this is ETH on the 8 hour at the moment. And when we're talking about a partial wick fill, you can even look at about half that wick. And that often works out to roughly a 618 fib. So in terms of my ideal region for a wick fill on ETH, it's going to be about this 2,400 zone that I'm looking at. That is my dream situation here for ETH, 2,400, maybe a wick into 2,300, but that makes the most sense for me in terms of filling this wick and staying pretty bullish. And in terms of confluence in that region, you can see these areas here. Look at that, tons of action in those zones, and that tells us 2.4 to 2.3 is a reasonable area if we do get a sell-off to expect some kind of ETH bounce in that zone. And that, for instance, could mark the bottom. Even short term, it could mark the bottom. So it might not be the bottom of ETH and we print new highs, but it could mark the bottom for a week or three, and then we get some nice upside, and then we figure it out as we start going up. And Arrowed Crypto says it's all going to zero. I'm loving the bearishness in the chats here. I'm actually feeling super bullish.
Making me very bullish.
Bearishness.
Yeah,
I'm loving this. Okay,
everyone's
I'm loving
super
this.
bearish. It's like so bad. Sentiment's horrible. It's gonna pump like crazy now.
It feels like a bounce coming, okay? But look, we're going to go through the charts. You're going to make your decisions. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you what we have here for you guys. Okay. Let's see. Crypto Teeth is talking about a 𝗦𝗏 accumulation here. 𝗲𝗏𝗟𝗡𝗥 the Wonder Dog says buy the dumps. Look, guys, yeah, you got to buy the dip. But what if the dip keeps dipping? That is the question. Now, if you want a little bit of action, you can follow us, the Chart Hackers. Now, you're wondering what Chart Hackers is. It's our trading group. This is one of the guns. Okay, here's one of the weapons there. Okay, there he is, and he's bringing you some action. So give us a follow on Twitter. It's the Chart Hackers, at the Chart Hackers. You can follow us there. And there's Dave's chart right there. Okay, he's talking about super the other day. There's tons of alpha here sitting here. I don't even know what this is. And what a place we have here. That was me talking to the people. And you'll find some alpha here in the Chart Hackers Twitter as well. So give it a follow, and you'll see what's going on. You'll also be heavily entertained. And if you're wondering about all the stuff that I do and all the lines that I draw on the chart and how does he know these things or how does he work it out? Well, you can do my accelerator course. It's very simple. I've simplified everything I talk about into very short and concise videos for you. And if you go and do this course, you are going to have an understanding of how I work these things, all these reaction zones that I talk about. You're going to understand how they work with all the indicators, those chart prime indicators that I use. It's all going to make sense to you. So all you need to do is go into the show description under the show, click on more, and you can go to my accelerator course. Take the course, get an idea as to what we're doing, learn about reaction zones, hot zones, all these fun things, and you can come and join us at Hackers. Now, if you stick around, I'm going to be giving a giveaway in a couple of minutes. So make sure you are hanging around. I'm giving away some bit-funded things. I'm giving away some things for hackers, and it's all going to happen for you. And Adriano says, how lower can memes go? They close to the lows, except Floki and a couple of others. I'm going to talk about Floki in a couple of minutes. Now, let's jump through Sol versus BTC. Now, I know lots of you track Sol, and I love to track ETH and Sol in terms of what I watch for the market. So Sol versus BTC, this is always a good guide, and we've been watching this one this week. In spite of the market pain, we can see Sol versus BTC sitting at a nice big weekly support level for us. That tells us this is a potential bounce zone, and you can see we do have that oscillator turning up. All we want to see with our oscillator is some kind of higher low here and then start teeing off. So this is the weekly chart, but in terms of support, in terms of things like that for Sol, well, you know, Sol versus Bitcoin, that looks like a nice low for me. So in terms of what we do for Sol with regards to that is we got to watch a couple of levels versus the US dollar. And Angelique says Solana is strong. Tommy says Ondo. I've got Ondo for you guys. I'm sitting in the Ondo position, and I'm wondering if they're actually going to dump it now after this Ondo week. I wonder if James and Dave have a little bit of Ondo info for us there. Let's see if they do. But in terms of Sol, let's finish this Sol chat. So we've looked at ETH. You can see my levels on ETH that are interesting to me. And in terms of Sol, we've got a similar situation here. Look at this wick on Sol, and you can see on ETH, we've also got a wick issue. And what does this tell us? It tells us the bottom could potentially be in, provided we have filled enough of this wick. So in terms of more downside, yes, we can get more downside in the market. Where do I want to see a bounce? If we do get a push lower today or earlier this week, 180, 185 to 182, that's an absolute banger zone for me. That's a zone where I'm looking to take on more risk there, add to my Sol position that I have at the moment in my account here. I'm going to show you guys in a sec, but 185 to 182 is what we're looking at for some kind of bounce if there is weakness. So in terms of that, it's looking decent, and you can see the 12-hour is looking super bullish as well. That thing is starting to push higher for us. And in terms of the daily, things are also looking a lot better on a lot of these altcoins. Look at this. We've just had a very bullish daily print, And that is telling us, even if there is one more dip here, we're looking to buy this thing up in terms of the reversal that we are looking for. Look at this. I got my magic blue dot. I got my green reversal print. I've got my divergence print. So things are really starting to tee up for Sol and to tee up for these alts in general on the higher timeframes, daily, 12-hour. They are looking pretty good. So big support for me on Sol, 185 to 182. Watch that zone. In terms of short-term support, if you are trading Sol on the short term, what you need to watch is the low from the dips that we had on Friday. So that would be your first line of support that you're going to be watching. So that level there is 186. Okay, so watch that for potential reaction zone there. 186, that would be a test of the lows, but I really like this region at the 200-day MA to the downside. But in terms of dailies, looking good. Okay, and here is the current situation. Okay, this is my Bybit account that I'm going on here. I've got another Sol head short running at the moment. You can see there's my Sol main position that I got. Cetus I got from Dave the other day. That thing's green, but now it's going a bit flat at the moment. There's Ondo. That's out for debate as to what happens next with Ondo. There's Rune. I'm still short Rune. Beam as well. Picked that up from Davey the other day. Hype. That's a short that I gave you guys the other day. And Bitcoin, I'm still short BTC. I don't have a reason to close it, so keeping that short open for now. If we get a sell-off, it's great. And if you want to know about the hedging strategy, we talk about that a lot in Chart Hackers. If you want to learn about hedging, shorts, longs, all these things, come hang out with us in Chart Hackers, and we will sort you out. Okay, let's get into a couple more things. Oh, yeah, Dave, you want to talk to us about Supra, bro? Here's your tweet. Dave was talking about Supra the other day. I know it's one of his favorites. And what do you got going on there? What's the story?
Yeah, no, I've just done a lot of research. It's a layer one. I feel like, because I remember the days when Sui was like at 30, 40, 60 cents, and we're arranging that. And look at Sui today, right? It's amazing layer one there. And so, you know, they're doing some things. And I think once the project gains a little bit more traction, I mean, it's at $100 million market cap. Yeah, I think it's going to, I mean, in the short term, for sure, 2x, but obviously the market conditions, all the altcoins have been suppressed. I just think this one's going to go. And there's a lot of things on Chart Prime that are saying it will, right? So
you have the chart there. Are we looking at it?
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. There it is. There it is. Okay. Okay. This is your magic super chart. Let's see what you got here.
Yeah. So we're always trying to track horizontals and supports and different patterns here, but one of the things that we like to do in Chart Hackers is use our indicator Chart Prime. And, one of the cool things about Chart Prime is it shows bullish divergence, bearish divergence, but it also shows hidden bullish and hidden bearish divergences. So, for example, on the 8-hour time frame, we've got these blue lines here, and those are hidden bullish divergences, but we have a blue reversal dot, which is kind of the key ingredient when it comes to a potential bottom, right? So I'm not saying this is the bottom, right? Because Bitcoin could nuke to, 93, 88, I don't know. There's a lot of different speculations, but there's another horizontal level here that I'm identifying, here at 0.01 to 0.013 as a worst case scenario. But personally, based on what Chart Prime is saying, I think this one's going to go, especially like the 12-hour time frame. These are not hidden bullish divergences. These are actually bullish divergences. So you can see that we have two of them here, and this one printed basically a day ago, right? And it's just kind of holding this level, and that's what I like to see, these higher time frame candle closes and seeing it kind of hold itself as support. And so with the 8-hour and these, the 12-hour bullish divergences, I expect this one to go. And so what are some of our targets? Initially, I think the 50-day MA is a very realistic target. If we break out of this trend here, there's probably going to be a retest and some fireworks. I had given this signal maybe 3 weeks ago in the Chart Hackers. A lot of people were sending me their P&Ls. I gave it to the guys basically right here in this zone. And from that point, we had a nice little 40% move. But, just like a lot of these altcoins that we're seeing round trips. So we have round tripped on Supra, but I think we've round tripped into a nice zone and have, basically redrawn this pattern here. But yeah, if we gain some traction, like you were saying, what if this is the bounce zone and we get, not an alt season, but, an alt 1 week season and, make our way up to. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. And then, kind of coming up to this point of control and anchored VWAP, which is typically a great target. We're looking at 150% move here. And if we can go to the all-time highs that we experienced back on the 7th of December, from where we're at now, this is a nice little 350%er. So, something to keep your eyes on. I would just recommend doing your own research. But, I've done my research. I'm doing the TA, and this one seems very, very fair and very nice. I like it.
Okay, nice, bro. And I see CryptoT says, every trade I hold too long, I round trip. Now, guys, that is the nature of the market at the moment. So we actually saw that Thursday, Friday. We got a couple of longs. We had a nice 10, 15% move on a couple of things. And what did they do? They sent it straight back down. So we are in those conditions where we, number one, looking to take profit at good zones. Number two, we can head short in these big areas as well. If you believe that you are now need to be net long if the bottom was in and we hit these reaction zones, you can open head shorts along the way that can carry your account and you can load up again. So if you want to learn more about that, you can join us in Hackers and we will explain all of that stuff to you. And then we'll see. We'll see how we go. Now, let's talk BNB. Dave, have you seen this thing has come alive again? And I see there's some meme coins and all these things going on. So Ali Charts is saying BNB is pumping. Should we accept the same with other altcoins? Alt season, is that you? He says. And Vlad says an absolute historical moment. Deck screener is dominated by BNB meme coins. Okay, James, what's going on here? What's happening here?
Yes, tell us.
I don't know. I guess the meme people need somewhere to go to make some kind of money.
So we saw this with Tron as well. Tron started ripping. They had a Tron season and they had all these memes going on, and now all of a sudden BNB. Okay,
and everybody that got into Tron got into Bull was the big one on Tron. And I know lots of people that have a whole bunch of Tron that's worth negative 0.004. Yeah. Sundog too. Yeah, that's right.
Sundog. Got wrecked on Sundog. Sundog was, Okay, so guys, look, these chains, they create their meme seasons and there's a little bit of fun. And then all of a sudden it's not fun anymore. So what I want to just show you guys here in terms of BNB. Now, if you jumped into this thing and you're feeling a little bit euphoric, let's actually talk about what is happening with BNB. So if there is more alt action and more memes, this thing will continue to pump. I think that makes sense. But in terms of levels that you need to watch, that you need to be careful of with regards to BNB, the first thing I want to show you is the daily. You can see that daily has turned a little bit bullish for us at the lows there on our oscillator. So that does look interesting for us there. But in terms of levels that you want to watch for BNB, if you're sitting in positions, here's your 200-day moving average. Look at that. It's holding the 600 region. So in terms of BNB and support you want to see hold, that 200-day is going to be quite a big level that you want to see the daily close above. Now at the end of the day. So when is that? In about 4 to 6 hours, there's going to be a candle close. Oh, there 5 hours, 40 minutes. There's going to be a candle close. Ideally, you want to close above that 600 region. That would be ideal for you so that you can start cruising and just climbing a little bit higher. Now, your next problem area comes at 660 to 670. That is going to be a problem zone for me on BNB. You can see you've got trend in the way. You've got 618, you've got 50-day, you've got 100-day MA. So that's a big danger zone there for BNB. I would be very cautious in that type of region. Obviously, if we blow through, that's a different story. We can look for support above 670. But until then, look out, okay? 670, that type of region, a little bit of trouble up there for you guys. And what is Joku trading? Everything soon under $1. What is that? Bitcoin. He's sending Bitcoin to $1. What's he doing here, man?
What is he?
What's he sending to $1?
Now that's bearish. Everything's $1. It's gonna be an improvement for a lot of memes. Actually, I'm okay with that. I'll just trade the memes.
So Shakespeare's pipe says BNB is going to 1900 in 2025. Well, fuck, guys, you never know. Okay, you actually don't know. This is crypto. After all, you actually never know. So yeah, look, in terms of regions you want to watch, 670 and 600, that's what you need to pay attention to, or that's certainly what I am paying attention to at the moment on BNB. Okay, let's go. Now, a nice BNB chain. A lot of you guys don't know. Floki is a BNB meme coin. So I thought, if these other memes carry on running, we'll talk about some BNB memes. But in terms of a big BNB meme player, Floki is one of them. This is Floki sitting on the weekly at the moment. I'm sure tons of you have traded Floki. You can see it does reward you with some big moves. You know, when we do get these types of things, that's 180% over there. What was that one? 600% from Floki. But in terms of what this thing needs to do now, in terms of where can Floki go, well, you can see what's going on here. We've lost quite a big weekly level, and we are now trying to reclaim this thing. So very interesting time for Floki. And I would say in terms of regions that you want to see a close above, I'd say 91 is a big one now. Floki traders, 91 is where you need that action, because this doesn't look good. Okay, that really doesn't look good. And that tells me if there is going to be a big sell-off in the market, Floki is going to experience a little bit more pain. And those levels we're talking about is probably the 0.5 region down to 40. Shoosh. I mean, it's deep. Okay, that's deep and dark down there on Floki. So in terms of support, anybody holding Floki, zone number 1, 91. Zone number 2, 71. If you close under that, you're most likely coming to 50 to 40. Okay, and that is going to be deep and dark. That is, I mean, that's another 48% on Floki. I would expect the rest of the market to be falling over if Floki is hitting those types of levels. It can be quite messy, but you know, that's pretty extreme there in terms of that. Shakespeare's Pipe is loving some AI as well, and 𝗬𝗢𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪 wants to chart some flatulence. Is that Fartcoin? And remember, guys, if you're shorting Fartcoin, it's called sharting. Okay, never forget that. Okay, let's go. Is that funny, bro? Is that funny?
Yeah, you got me to laugh.
Okay, now, guys, I'm not involved in this thing at all. Okay, I wouldn't touch this thing. It's fucking dangerous. But what happened here? 𝗫𝗢𝗟𝗏𝗧, I think it was on Friday, he basically went on Twitter and he said, oh, I announced on Twitter that I was buying this coin, and then it pumped, and then I sold it, and I made so much money and all this shit. And it's a little bit of like a gray area, because we know the 𝗕𝗢𝗥𝗍𝗟𝗟 tried that stuff. There was a lot of trouble behind it. We know a lot of other influencers and stuff. They've tried that stuff where they're pumping it on Twitter, and then they're exiting and dumping on the community and causing tons of problem. And he went on and he said, look, that's what I've done. How does this all work and whatever? And now he's released this, well, I don't know if it's him, but this is his account. And he says he's introducing 𝗲𝗟𝗟𝗪. So this is what he's now getting up to. Okay. I mean, I won't play this whole thing.
I was raised to do one thing. I've got nothing to fight for.
I got fucked so hard with meme coins. I don't fuck with them.
Nothing will stand in our way. Finish what you started.
I'm gonna go to bed, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
There were stories about what happened.
Okay, look, guys, I'm not going to play the whole video. You get the picture. Now, basically, what he's saying, yeah, I told everybody who would listen that 𝗲𝗟𝗟𝗪𝗏 would succeed, where all the other scammers have failed. I'm going to hold my 𝗲𝗟𝗟𝗪𝗏 to 500 million market cap at the minimum, maybe $1 billion. So, I mean, it's a bit of a gray area, because he's openly telling you, I'm buying this thing, I'm holding this, and this is where I'm selling. So, I don't know. It's a bit gray.
You know, I saw his first clip from the first meme coin he just got into recently. He said he put 10K into it. He watched it explode to 75K after he tweeted it. And he's like, can I go to jail for this? Is this legal? He's like, how long do you watch a rocket ship go up? And he's like, I told everybody I was going to sell. Is this okay? Can I actually do this? Why am I working? I just need to show meme coins all day online.
So, look, yeah, I mean, look, so anyway, guys, I wouldn't buy this, okay? It's already at $180 million market cap. He's openly told you, if this thing goes to 500, he's selling, okay? So just look out. Yeah, I mean, it's just launched. This is the 15-minute candle. And, when was that? Looks like 2 in the morning. Okay, so it's just launched, okay? So it's happened today, and it looks far more impressive on like a 12-hour or daily. But that is what he's up to, okay? Just be careful. Be super careful there. And in terms of other meme coins, well, Goku has given a bit of a bounce. Okay, so it is trying to hold now this 10 level. Okay, big level here for Goku. You can see these horizontals here. Look at that there. You can tie that in nicely there. That is a nice big bounce zone there in terms of support. So you're going to be watching that type of level. Anybody trading Goku, that is your zone. Okay, so that 99, 90, yeah, call it 99 to 81. Okay, that is your big support there on Goku. So nice little recovery bounce there in terms of that. And now let's talk a couple of other things floating around there at the moment. We've got DeFi Investor talking about Aave, Uniswap, and Mantle dominate DeFi mindshare. Okay, that is interesting for us. We know Aave is quite a banger, and ETH Foundation is not selling, but it transferred 132 million worth of ETH into Aave ecosystem. Okay, so you know, we talk about Aave fair enough, and weekly time frame, I think this is really all you need to be paying attention to on Aave in terms of the weekly, and this is still obviously a banger, but we do have a week wick issue here for us on 𝗬𝗦, but in terms of big levels here, anything down to 180 is going to be your main support. So anybody sitting in 𝗬𝗦 spot positions and things like that, wondering what happens next, if we do get a wick fill out of the market, I would call that a nice bottom move for potentially quite a big bounce if we do get that push. But 180, that is your big support. In terms of where this thing needs to go for the shorter time frame traders, well, the big level for me is 260. You've got to get above this 260. When we start ranging above that and looking for breakouts, that's going to make sense to me. Anything above 260 is going to be a little bit more bullish for me on 𝗬𝗦 in terms of a trade. So if you're jumping in this now on leverage, you've got big danger ahead at 260. But once you have reclaimed that as support, then things are going to make sense. Now, remember, when you look at all these altcoins, just remember our total 3 chart, which is our altcoin guideline, and that is also sitting under major resistance. You know that ETH is doing the same thing. So there's a general pattern here all around for us. Now, in terms of other DeFi plays for me, Uniswap, and I know we don't give it enough airtime. I don't know if it's worth much airtime. I mean, do you still look at this thing, Dave? Uniswap.
No, 1-inch Uniswap, those kind of things. Yeah.
Look, it's second on the DeFi investors list. I thought, let's look at this thing. But in terms of Uniswap, like, it will have its day in the sun when ETH starts ripping again. We get that, okay? Like, it will come alive again, but it's about survival now. And there's a couple of things bothering me about Uniswap at the moment. So the first thing is we are holding our rising trend. So that's, that's a good start. But what I don't like is we are sitting under that 200-day moving average. That is a problem zone for us, okay? That is big resistance there for us at 9.6. We really need to break through that guy, find support. Then we can start saying, okay, let's get long again on Uniswap. Until then, we need to be careful. 9.8 is resistance. So if you pump into that and reject, you're most likely going to get this wick fill. And I've been trying to explain last week on the show. Remember your risk. If you're trading leverage on these things and you're happy to try and sit in a position and ride it down, remember the length of these wicks. That wick alone is 20%. Imagine what that 20% wick can do to your leverage account. If you go in long now on 10x, and you let that Uniswap ride to fill that wick all the way down, imagine the type of risk you're putting yourself under. So just be careful when you are trading these tokens. If you are looking at these wicks thinking, oh, we can just ride it down to the wick close, well, that can put you in a big spot of pain. So in terms of anybody trading Uniswap, short-term levels, what you can use for now is these lows. You can see that daily low there. In fact, we'll tie it into that region over there. So 8.44 looks like your safest degen level here, okay? 8.44, look for that, okay? Look for a potential stop hunt if they do drop it, but 8.44 could be something that you can look at. Alternatively, that wick fill is going to be on the table, but that's about a 15 to 20% drop for you guys. Degen Zen, did she sell Ondo? Guys, in fact, let's do a giveaway quickly.
Let's do it.
Okay, I want to do a giveaway. James and Dave, James can put in giveaways at cryptobanter.com in the comments there for us. What we want to do is I want to give you guys a bit-funded giveaway. Let's go with anybody who has signed up, okay, to Chart Hackers. Okay, I'm going to keep this for the first, we're going to keep this for the first 20. Okay, so anybody who signs up to Chart Hackers in the show description, so we're going to go into the show description here. Okay, so go into the show description, click on more. You can sign up to Chart Hackers. Okay, this is one of the ways you can do it. If you sign up to Chart Hackers, I'm going to give you a bit-funded base account. Now, that is your starting challenge account. And what is that exactly? Well, it's worth $79. It's a challenge account. And yeah, we can click on new challenge. Let's see what that thing looks like. But effectively, Bitfunded is prop funded trading, and what happens here is you can buy a challenge account from them, $5,000 account, $10,000, $25,000, $50,000, and for $79 you get the base account. Then you can trade, you get 8% profit, you go to stage 2, you get 5% profit, you get an actual funded real money account. You can trade with other people's money, you keep 80 to 90% of the profit. So that base account is worth $79. So I'm going to do a giveaway here. Anybody who signs up to Chart Hackers today, okay, sign up to Chart Hackers, email giveaways at cryptobanter.com. That email address is in the chats now for you guys. Email that, show them that you have signed up to Chart Hackers today, and we're going to send you a bit-funded base challenge account worth $79. Okay, so we'll keep it super simple there. And then James and Dave, okay, can you select 2 comments out of the chats? Okay, no obligations from them, and we're going to do a Bitfunded giveaway there. Okay, will you look around in the chats there while I carry on, the two of you there, and we're going to give away 2 Bitfunded, just 2 people in the comments for being amazing. Okay, we'll keep it that simple for you guys. Okay, so guys, if you're interested in Bitfunded on its own, if you're already part of Hackers and all these things, there is a link for Bitfunded there. Click on that, you can get a piece of that at the moment. Now, there is another way that you can get into Hackers, and that is by signing up to our new exchange partner, which is 𝗟𝗏𝗏𝗏. Okay, they are no KYC at the moment, and they are also, if you sign up to 𝗟𝗏𝗏𝗏, you're going to automatically get a 10% discount on joining Hackers. So if you're new, you're going to sign up to 𝗟𝗏𝗏𝗏, they're going to send you an email, and you're going to get a 10% off joining Hackers for the first month. Now, there's a nice advantage here for you guys. If you're signing up to 𝗟𝗏𝗏𝗏, they want to throw money at you. Okay, literally throwing money at you here. Look at this. If you put $100 in, they're giving you a 50 USDT trading bonus. If you put 500 in, they're giving you 250 trading bonus. If you put in 1,000, they're giving you a $500 trading bonus. Okay, all you need to do, go to the link in the show description, sign up to 𝗟𝗏𝗏𝗏. There's no KYC. Try it out. Deposit your money. They're giving you a bonus, and you'll also get a 10% discount on Hackers. Okay, so very simple way to get free money, okay, out of 𝗟𝗏𝗏𝗏, free trading money. And that is how I actually took my first trade on Fartcoin. I used my trading bonus that they gave me last week, and I took that Fartcoin trade for those of you that were watching the show. Now, you can see I'm trading in 𝗟𝗏𝗏𝗏 at the moment. This is my Peppy trade still from last week. I got stopped on a Popcat trade that I took off a bounce level, and I think it was, what was the other one? I think it was Fartcoin as well. But here is Peppy. This one is still running, and I opened this one on 𝗟𝗏𝗏𝗏, and the reason being I wanted to try and build a position because I have a bias that the lows could potentially be in, and the plan here was to nibble a bit now on Peppy. If we get a little bit more downside, I was going to add a little bit more. So let me show you what that looks like. And in terms of the Peppy chart on the 3-day, you can see this thing still looks unmoved from when I showed you guys last week. It still looks absolutely banger from a spot perspective at least. Okay, look at our 3-day. We're getting our reversal on our oscillator, and things are looking much better now on Peppy. So if we do get some downside, I'm just going to be adding to that position. I want to grow the size. So for me, Peppy, anything from 91 or 915 down to 800 is a buy zone for me on Peppy. I'm trying to grow the size of this position. You can see it's a low leverage play, and we're just going to add on weakness on the way down, try and get that thing bigger. And then in terms of upside, when we do get our reversal, which I expect we will hold the lows, I'm looking at 117. I'm looking at 13 as potential targets here on Peppy. Now, in terms of a degen scenario, I've zoomed in for you guys. And this is what we are looking at here. This is Peppy on the 1 hour. Now, this thing's been an interesting play last week, and we saw a lot of altcoins. They were really respecting the quantum reactor. They were respecting the VWAPs. They were respecting the order blocks and 382s on all these pumps that some of these alts had. So they all got rejected on Friday at those types of levels. We had tons of these alts at horizontals, rejecting at trends, and then falling over. So now we've had a little bit of a recovery here on Peppy, but in terms of what I'm looking for in the short term, now this is for degen traders, if we get a slight sell-off now in the market over the next couple of hours, I've got my eyes on this region over here, this 898 zone. So this is for the degens here, something like that. Okay, could be something you want to look at. That would be, we could call that an inverse head and shoulders. That 898 looks like an interesting zone for me. So that would be a medium-term sell-off in the market. You can see my 1 hour oscillator wants to just dip a little bit lower. Hopefully we get a higher low, we get some kind of divergence print, and then we are looking for a bounce on Peppy. So anything for me, first support, 927. But the big one for me, 898, look for a reaction there if things sell off. And you can see in terms of resistance, very simple here. That's 2 VWAPs in the way, horizontals, and you can see that's a problem zone for us. So when do we turn extra bullish on Peppy? Let's blow through that guy. We want to find support above that region. Then we are good to go. So in terms of longs, lower down or higher up is what you're looking for. So Peppy, you've got to break 98, break through 98, get support above 98. That should give you some kind of long play there. And alternatively, if we do get some downside, then you are going to look for that move. So remember, play your stops accordingly, manage your risk accordingly if you are looking at these types of things. But typically, that is what you're going to look for. If we pop through that area, some kind of scalp long there, manage your risk, manage your leverage. Alternatively, you're looking at something potentially lower down in that type of region there, that 898, that type of zone. Okay, so those are your potential degen options there on Pepe. And Dan says, will Pepe reach all-time high again? Guys, it's a tough call. It really is a tough call. It's the market's a bit special at the moment. James, how's our giveaway looking here?
There's a lot to choose from.
Well, there you go, boys. I'm leaving it in your hands.
Okay.
Who's getting it?
Well, I've got one here. She's a South African, apparently. Melissa Mullen, I think, is a good one.
Send it.
Send it. How about you, Dave?
It's so funny because I was going to choose her too because it's the persistence, right? She's not just spamming the same thing over and over.
Right.
But I'm going to go with where are you at, man? There you are. Tindo, the African degen.
Go, bro. Give it. Okay. So, what was it? Melissa who? Melissa
Mullen.
Okay. Melissa Mullen. Email giveaways@cryptobanter.com. Okay. Tell them you won the Bitfunded. Okay. Melissa Mullen. Just make sure it's you. Okay. And Tindo, bro, you know what to do, bro. Okay. Email giveaways@cryptobanter.com. And we will let them know. We will let them know that you two have won. And everyone else, if you've signed up to Hackers and you want that free base account from Bitfunded, you just need to mail giveaways@cryptobanter.com. Show them you've signed up to Hackers. We're going to send you a Bitfunded. We're going to send you a Bitfunded base account. Okay, guys, let's look at a couple of trades now. Pretty important. So hype is one of the situations that we are still sitting in. I don't have a reason to close this thing. I'm short hype from last week. We looked at this chart. It was a head and shoulders play that we were looking at. Looked bearish, pushed back up. What happened? We got our rejection. Okay, and now we've made our way down. And in terms of the market, as a hedge player, I don't feel the need to exit this thing just yet. We have at a bounce. Okay, you can see we are printing a higher low at the moment. But in terms of where will I exit this hype short, when we reclaim this 24 zone, this 24.3, you can see there's a lot going up here. When we reclaim that type of region and close above is when I'm going to start cutting that hype short, because then that is telling me this thing might be turning bullish. Until then, we need to assume that we are in a downtrend on hype, and we're going to play it accordingly until that trend gets broken and until we start breaking horizontal levels. So I'm just sitting in that now, just chilling. No reason to exit. So anybody who's sitting in hype, you can see if we break that trend, that might be a sign that you want to cut it. If we close above the 50-day MA at above that 24.3 region, then maybe you want to look to start cutting that one as well. So leaving it for now. Let's look at Ondo. Now, it was a big week for Ondo. Those of you trading Ondo, we know we had lots of announcements coming. They're launching their stock product as well, where you can buy Tesla and all these other stocks using Ondo. And now, was there enough juice? Were there enough announcements? So this is bothering me. This head and shoulders is a problem for me on Ondo. And I'm still sitting in that Ondo position, was waiting for some bigger things here. And right now, our support 1.27, no changes here. If we start closing under that, then I'd say we are on for some bearish moves on Ondo. So 1.27, guys, that's the one. If we close under that, could get a bit messy, could get a bit ugly there on Ondo. If we close under that, I'm going to start cutting that Ondo position that I am sitting in over there. And then when do we turn bullish? Well, you can see we've got this descending channel here. When we break through those types of levels, then we can get a little bit more aggressive there. So Ondo, play safe, 1.27. Overall, doesn't look great. Okay, might see a little bit more downside. And then Sui, guys, I did promise you some Sui. And this one has been super quiet lately. It's been a slow bleeder. It hasn't responded the way it used to. And I think the market is tired of pumping Sui effectively. So there's a couple of big levels that you need to watch. There's a couple of reversal zones on Sui that I've got my eyes on. And the first one is this 2.96 to 2.85. This is our first big one. Okay, that is the zone of interest here for us. There's a little bit of confluence here. Look at that. We've got support there just below that 618. So it's just under that hacker zone there, that 2.96 to 2.85. And then lower down, you can see they'll probably wipe out this candle quite quickly. And then you're looking at something down here at this 2.4 down to 2.3 region. So anybody trading SUI, just be patient. These are your most likely reaction zones. If the bottom is in, well, that wick's going to hold. And that is where you're looking for that action. So 2.96 to 285. And then you're looking at 240 to 2.3. That's pretty much where it is for me on SUI. And you can see we're getting tons of reversal prints here. It's trying to reverse. Look at that, Dave.
Yeah,
that's actually insane.
What?
I've never actually seen that. I mean,
I've never
that's
seen it either.
yeah, that's pretty aggressive. Okay, so guys, aggressive reversal signs on the 8 hour for SUI. Let's actually see what it looks like on the daily. I've never seen that. Jeez. Okay, so the daily printing a higher low on the oscillator. Let's see 12 hour. Okay, 12 hour less intense. That 8 hours hectic. Okay, so guys, that is it. Okay, that is a wrap. That is a wrap from us, Dave. Our Sunday session starts now in Chart Hackers. We're going live on Zoom for the Chart Hackers members. I'll see you in there. Catch you now in 30 minutes. James, thank you, sir. Thanks for hanging.
See you soon.
Guys, that's that. Okay, so big week ahead. You can find me on Banter Plus going forward. Banter Plus, Monday to Friday. You like this type of action, that is where you're going to find me. I'm going into the Hackers Live Zoom now, and we're going to tee up the week. We're going to look at a couple of setups and see what to look forward to. Okay, guys, that is it from me. I'll be back again in a week or two on the main chat. Okay, see you guys later.